and I'd like to welcome you to our webinar, Quality Management and Regulatory Compliance, Staying Competitive with Digital Transformation, presented by Bimser International. A little housekeeping before we get started. Everyone has been placed on mute to keep the background noise down. However, you can submit any questions you have throughout the webinar. To submit a question, look for the question section in your GoToWebinar. We will answer all questions at the end of the presentation. We are recording this presentation and it will be distributed tomorrow to all attendees as well as to those who registered but were not able to attend. Please take a moment at the end of the presentation to answer our 2-question survey. With that said, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to attend our webinar. We're here to help you get the most out of your software solutions and help you find an easier way to run your business by providing you software and industry knowledge, tools, and support whenever you need it. We've invited Bimser International to present today because they are the industry experts on quality management and regulatory compliance. So whether you're here doing research for a new solution or you're just here to learn, we'd like to encourage you to ask any questions throughout the webinar. Lastly, as a quick reminder, SWK is constantly sharing important updates and software tips and tricks on our social media channels. So we encourage you to follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Without further ado, I'll hand it over to Kevin and Sam.
Thank you, Jolie. Now I am sharing
Kevin.
my screen.
Yep, it looks great.
Great, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the introductions. Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Devecioğlu. I am with Bimser International. We are a New York-based enterprise software maker since 1998. Today, I am with my colleague, Sam Watt. He's one of our engineers, previously a software engineer. And together, we'll be talking about digital transformation of quality management. So before we get into quality management and digitization of quality management in the scope of digital transformation, I'd like to talk about who we are and what we're doing in a very brief presentation. We have been a partner of SWK Technologies for a while. We work very well together, and we have a very good relationship. Also, this quarter, we also had a chance to work together in various events together with SWK, and we are looking forward to having many more events together, of course, in addition to these webinars. As a company, as Bimser International, we believe in simplicity and digital transformation, and we help companies simplify their processes. That's what we do, and that's our mission, basically. And we are ready to be a global leader in global enterprise software marketplace. That's our vision. As a company, we are very active in various business communities. For example, ASQ is one of them, American Society for Quality, and other business and management associations that we follow, so that we are in touch with business communities in different regions. Also, we are very close to manufacturing association of HAPAC. And with this association, we basically facilitate events and educational meetings for manufacturers in the New York area. That helps us basically interact with manufacturers in the sense of digital transformation as well as quality management. I also like to mention our mentorship program for university students. That's very popular in the New York area. So we basically every quarter get new interns from various universities in the New York area, and we basically train them and educate them for pre-sales engineering for their careers. Let's talk about our company a little bit. As Bimser International, we have global presence. We are based in New York, and we are also active in Europe and other regions as well. In total, we are about 200 people. We are a growing organization. European Bank for Reconstruction and Development is investing in Bimser. They are one of our investors. So with their help and support, we have more visibility in international markets. Bimser is a ISV of Acumatica, Microsoft Gold ISV partner. Also, Bimser is a certified SAP ISV partner as well. Also, as an enterprise software maker, we are also very active in Sage and Oracle ERP ecosystems. Speaking of quality management systems, we are also certified. We have ISO 9001 certification as well as ISO 271 certification. So we have certain standards, policies, and procedures to deliver consistent quality of services and products to our customers through our partners. Since 1998, we focus on this product range. We have EBA. EBA is our enterprise content management platform. It has a powerful workflow engine to help companies have a paperless work environment. We have BIM as an asset and maintenance management system. Today, we'll talk more about QDMS. QDMS is our quality, risk, audit, and compliance management system. And finally, we have Ensemble as a business process management solution. In bottom, you can also see two solutions that we develop on EBA. One of them is contract management solution that helps companies manage contracts digitally. Another one is EBA ITSM solution that helps IT departments manage their incidents and requests in a digital environment. Our products work standalone. They work on-premise servers, and when there's a need, they also work together. Since we have a modern technology, when there's a need, we integrate with ERP systems, CRM systems, MES systems, and other systems, depends on the project needs. Also, we have mobile apps available for our products. So the main idea is to automate processes of companies. Anything that you do at your organization, repeated tasks, repeated processes, we basically help you automate and digitize those processes so that you can save time, increase productivity, as well as you can comply your quality and management standards easily. That is what we are striving for. Since 1998, these numbers show how many deployments we have done, and it also shows how many clients we have globally as well. So we have more than 1,000 customers globally. And as for QDMS, our quality management system, right now we have about little more than 1,000 customers, corporate customers globally. Since that's the highest number that we have among our products, that also gives us actually a lot of experience that we can talk about. We have experience in many different industries as to quality management regulations and compliance management standards, and we'll share our insights as well as our observations in the marketplace in a minute. Historically, we are coming from enterprise market, so we have been working with many reputable companies. We are working with 3M, we are working with Ford, Hyundai, Henkel. We are working with Godiva chocolate, for example. AstraZeneca is one of our customers. Bridgestone is using our products as well. International Paper, Unilever, and United Nations are some of our customers. So we are coming from enterprise market originally, and right now we are also serving mid-market companies as well. So what does it mean for you? That means our products, they have scale, and you can actually grow with our products. And we have the scale and capability that help you actually grow your business. That's what it means, actually. And we have a lot of experience to help companies grow in a digital environment. Also, I need to mention, we have a lot of references in aerospace and aviation industry, because this is one of the heavily regulated industries in the marketplace. So we work with many different companies. I just put some of them on the screen. We help aerospace and aviation companies comply with many different standards in a digital environment. Another heavily regulated industry is medical device, pharma, and healthcare industry. This is also another regulation-rich vertical, I must say. So we have a lot of references as well in these verticals as well. So we have many things to talk about in terms of digital quality management. Okay, great. So that's who we are and what we do as Bimser International. So let's talk about digital transformation of quality management. When we think about quality, basically quality has three main points that we need to always pay attention. One of them is characteristics of the product that speaks directly to the voice of the customer, meaning the product has to stand for something, and that needs to guarantee a certain level of satisfaction for the customers. That is very, very important. Also, quality also reflects the characteristics of the environment that supports the production of the product. Also speaks for the voice of the customer. And another one that we also think about is the improvement of environment that supports the production of products also based on the voice of the customer. So these are the basic profile of quality. And when we think about quality management, I need to share this screen with you. That's very important. That's basically our framework. That's how we look at quality management from practical point of view. So we take quality management into three pieces. So the first piece is quality assurance. Quality assurance is simply the system that you are following. This system may be as simple as or as universal as ISO. Could be if you are in aerospace or aviation industry, that may be AS9100. If you are in food industry, for example, that may be SPF or BRC or ISO 22000, for example. So these systems, these quality management systems, dictate a certain system for you to have to run the quality assurance. The other piece that we actually focus on in quality management model is quality control. So quality control is, I call it really company specific. Every single company has different quality control points. There may be quality control when you buy a purchase order, when you buy a raw material based on your purchase order. When you make production, for example, you may have quality control processes after production, or you may have quality control processes during production, for example. This may be also applied to various services that you provide. Typically, quality control is dictated by the quality assurance. So the quality control points that you have in your company, basically talking to quality assurance, the quality management system. And ideally, that has to be documented, and that has to be also traceable, and you need to have an audit trail. And the third piece that we focus on in quality management modeling is predictive quality. So in this digital age right now, we can actually make the most of IoT technologies. So when I say IoT, Internet of Things, I am referring to smart sensors. So with the help of sensors, with the Bluetooth technology, or through Wi-Fi, for example, and other technologies, you have a chance to remotely monitor your machinery, equipment, and your environment simply. These monitoring may be as simple as monitoring temperature, monitoring humidity, maybe monitoring smoke, maybe monitoring sound, voice, noise, for example. And you can also monitor for manufacturing purposes. Also, you can monitor vibration, for example, or other vitals of a machinery or equipment. Right now, we can do these things remotely. So when I remotely monitor a machinery or equipment, I can know when this machinery will break down, when this machinery will be in need of care or maintenance, for example. So I can be proactive when I'm running my quality management system. So this is a very important model that we are actually looking at it. And in a practical sense, we actually implement it in different ways. Either we have a quality assurance system in place, maybe ISO 9001, or maybe you are just practicing it, even if you don't have a certification. You may have a quality control system in place, for example. And the next piece, which is the next level, is the predictive quality with the help of sensors. That's basically how we are processing quality management in the scope of digital transformation. There are many different standards in different verticals. That's the fact. So as businesses, we need to comply with various standards. These standards may be quality or management standards, or we may need to comply with certain regulations, depends on the industry we are in, for example. So when we look at these lists, these are just some of them that we put together. For example, when we look at aviation industry, typically many aviation or aerospace companies, typically they comply with AS9100, ISO 9001. Some of them comply with NIST and other standards that may come with DOD or other regulations that depends on they are serving in different industries or different institutions, I must say. Automotive industry is also heavily regulated due to health, due to safety reasons. Automotive industry has its own ISO. It's called IATF 16949. So it's also based on ISO 9001. In addition to ISO 9001, it has automotive industry, car industry focus compliance requirements that you need to follow. In construction industry, we see a lot of ISO 9001 compliance. Also, there is a standard called ISO 17025 that is for calibration standard management based on ISO standards. That's also very common in construction industry. Food industry is also heavily regulated. There are different standards in food industry for food companies to comply. Some of them are local regulations that they need to comply, such as checking temperature of refrigerators, industry refrigerators periodically, for example, documentation, hygiene, and other standards. In North America, we see a lot of SQF standard related compliance. Also, there is BRC. So these are basically generally ISO 9001 based quality management standards, and on top of it, they have certain hygiene and health safety related standards that companies need to follow. Also, we see a lot of GMP compliance as well in food industry. Healthcare industry is also heavily regulated. When I say healthcare, I'm referring to hospitals, clinics, other health service providers. So typically, HIPAA is very common as a regulation that many companies, healthcare companies, actually they have to comply with. Also, FDA regulations are also in place at DC all the time. Manufacturing organizations comply with different standards based on what they manufacture. As I mentioned earlier, the most universal one is ISO 9001. Same in North America we have, same in Europe, same in Asia. It's a very universal quality management system. In addition to that, there is, for example, ISO 14000 for environment-related quality standards that you can follow. Followed by, for example, energy management standard of ISO. ISO 9001 has been around in the market since 1980, so it's been around for a long time. It's a very well-known system. It's also very universal, so it's a pretty good example to talk about when we are referring to quality management in a digital environment. Medical device industry is also heavily regulated, so there are quality and management standards for medical device companies or medical material manufacturers, for example. For example, if you are manufacturing X-rays or if you are manufacturing masks, or let's say you manufacture other clothing for hospitals or healthcare organizations, for example, you need to comply with ISO 13485. That's an ISO standard designed for medical device, medical material industry. That's typically what we see. And if you are operating in the United States, you need to comply with FDA regulations. Also, if you are selling to, for example, Canada, you need to also comply with SOR regulations of Canada. There is also EU MDR regulations if you are exporting your medical device products to Europe, for example, and there is also MDSAP. That's another standard for medical device companies. So these are, that's a heavily regulated industry. So regulation means documentation that you need to follow, and this documentation is managing the documentation. And when the time comes for inspections or audits, proving that you are doing your job based on the system that you put in place or based on your quality management system is the challenge. And that's what we'll be talking about in a minute. Pharmaceutical industry is also heavily regulated with FDA regulations. Public sector has always regulations, maybe coming from local management, maybe state level regulations in place. So that also involves a lot of documentation, as well as technology industry that we are in. Typically ISO 9001, ISO 27001. These are typical standards many technology companies, software companies comply with. Also, if you are providing infrastructure, if you are providing, let's say, data centers, a cloud environment, also SOC compliance also is expected in the marketplace. So SOC has different levels, SOC 1, 2, 3, for example, and this is also an important standard to follow for IT infrastructure service management companies. So let's continue with our slide. So let me look at the quality and management standards that actually help companies have best practices. Also, quality and management standards help companies have a framework of certain processes so that you can have continuous and consistent outcome every time you process, you manufacture, or you basically provide a service, for example. And quality and management standards also help you establish an environment for continuous improvement. So let's just remember, any quality management system or management standard these standards basically help you have a continuous improvement. So for us to improve our operations, whether I'm making manufacturing, whether I'm in service providing, for example, I need to get feedback. The feedback may come from customers, may come from our team members internally. It may come from certain, for example, observations in the marketplace. There may be as simple as a suggestion coming from different sources. So these feedback channels are critical. These are essential for us to manage. Whether you hear it, whether you get it via email, whether you get it in a letter, that needs to be documented, and you need to think about it, and you need to take actions to make sure you have continuous improvement cultures in your place, in your company, in your workplace, basically. So in that sense, having this continuous improvement culture is very important to follow while following quality and management standards. And they all lead to simply customer satisfaction. Happier the customer, the more sales we can make, the better business we can have, and the better feedback that we get, the more feedback that we get, the better continuous improvement we can actually put in place. So why do we comply with quality management standards? Why do you comply with ISO 9001? If you are in food industry, why do you comply with SQF or BRC? If you are in pharma industry, why do you comply with, for example, GMP or FDA regulations? So aside from regulations coming from government, customers are requiring actually, they are expecting you to comply with certain quality and management standards. It's because ISO or SQF or AS9100, for example, in aviation or aerospace industry, that means you have certain standards, policies, and procedures in place to deliver goods and services consistently. That's what it means. That's why customers are actually expecting you to have compliance and certification for quality and management standards in place. It also helps you have new markets actually globally, or just in North America perhaps. Also, quality and management standards help you improve your operations, and you can position your company to grow. So in this sense, when we look at this as a whole, compliance actually directly linked to sales. So in my point of view, compliance equals sales. For us to be able to make sales, I need to comply with certain quality and management standards. If I'm not able to comply AS9100, even if I'm manufacturing a doorknob for aeroplane, Boeing will not buy from me. Airbus will not buy from me. That's a fact. If I'm not complying with SPF or BRC, I cannot sell it to Walmart. I cannot sell it to Burger King. I mean, these are really given. They won't even talk to you. That's a fact. So basically, customers expect you to have these compliance. So the better we comply, the better actually we improve our operations and processes, and the more we increase the customer satisfaction, the more sales we can have. And we can prosper our business, our employees, and our stakeholders, basically. So that is where it is coming from. So when we say compliance, it's not just documentation. It's not just bureaucracy. It's actually linked to sales. It's actually linked to continuous improvement. It's actually linked to customer satisfaction via feedback that we get from our customers, and we take actions for continuous improvement. So that's how we need to look at it from business point of view. Compliance equals sales. Of course, it's not easy to comply with ISO. It's not easy to comply with AS9100. There are challenges because we are busy as business people. We need to also, run our businesses. But sometimes some companies, they have hard time managing documentation of any quality management system. So too much paperwork is one of the challenges that we have been hearing and seen in the marketplace. Sometimes maintaining documentation and manual work is very tedious, maybe really time consuming. Also, when we are so busy with doing manufacturing, doing service providing, consulting, for example, we may lose sight of standards sometimes. That's another challenge. And as I mentioned earlier, some companies look at ISO standard or AS9100 standard or SPF standard and other regulations as a necessary evil, which is not the way to go, basically. We need compliance and regulations for continuous improvement and customer satisfaction. That's how we need to look at it. Nevertheless, these are the challenges that we have been seeing in the marketplace. So thanks to digital age, right now there are many different solutions that we can actually address these challenges. So with the help of digital software products. We can maintain our documentation. We can maintain our SOPs, standard operating procedure documentations, policies, procedures, revisions. We can actually manage them digitally. So that actually solves the problem. Also, updates are simplified. Also, audits are simplified thanks to digital age. So it's much easier than before. We don't have to be on paper anymore. Actually, we don't even need paper when I'm running my quality management system, for example. So that's an important advantage for any company. Also, in terms of administrative efforts that we put in, technological tools that we have in this digital age reduces our actual efforts. It makes things easier for us. So we can have our quality management system in a digital environment, and we can run it smoothly. So paperless compliance is actually here in this digital age, and we'll talk about it even more detail right now. So one of the solutions that we provide for digital transformation in quality management is called QDMS. That's a quality, risk, audit, and compliance management software that we put together. It's been around since 1998. It is very solid. That's how we've actually got more than 1,000 global customers, and that is how we have been learning about different standards in the marketplace. So when we look at actually a quality management system, if you remember, if I refer to that quality management model that I shared with you earlier in terms of quality assurance, quality control, and predictive quality, this slide is actually very complementary to that model. So thanks to IoT devices, smart sensors, now I can remotely monitor temperature, vibration, noise, and other vitals of my machinery equipment or my environment, for example. So with the help of IoT devices, now I am able to take action automatically. Manufacturing execution systems that we see all the time at manufacturing organizations based on counts, based on manufacturing performance. I can take action to perfect my manufacturing processes, for example, based on manufacturing execution system outcome. Customer relationship management, CRM tools are also very important to get insight in terms of how I am doing as a company and how I can actually improve my processes. That's also very helpful. And I can link QDMS, our system, to any CRM system or MES system or IoT devices to be proactive. This is the key, basically, being proactive in digital age while being paperless and while running all the quality management systems in a digital environment. And finally, there are, of course, ERP systems or account management systems that we have in place. That's also basically linked to our system for HR information, product information, vendor supply information. So this is a very practical approach when you look at it, using IoT devices, manufacturing execution systems, CRMs, ERPs to manage quality and management standards in a digital environment. So our system QDMS is running this way to help companies comply with various management standards. QDMS is easy to use. As I mentioned earlier, it's an enterprise level system, but it's very, very easy to use. So you are using what Ford is using. You are using basically what 3M is using in a very simplistic sense, in a very affordable way, also with modules that I'll talk about in a minute. It has a web-based structure, meaning once we deploy the system, you can access the system anywhere you are. You may access your quality management documentation. You can actually see the reports about your quality control activities, and you can also see the activity, temperature, vibration, other vitals of your machinery and equipment remotely, thanks to IoT devices. It works on cloud as well as on-premise servers, QDMS, and also it makes it easy to access from anywhere, and it has a modular structure. So you don't have to get every part of the system. You can pick and choose what you need. So many different occasions, I got many different questions. For example, so if you are complying with ISO 9001, typically many companies they use, many of our customers they use control document management module, for example, to manage the policies, procedures, as well as forms, for example. So the challenge about the documents actually are these. So if you put together your policies and procedures on in a Word file, for example, in the beginning everything is okay. It's just one page or 2 pages of document, and you basically put together and you articulated how you are doing your job, how you are actually handling customer complaint, how you're handling control processes, how you are doing manufacturing. So you are writing step by step. So it also helps you have a system, regardless of who is operating. You have the system right there, actually explain how to run it smoothly. So the first time is okay. And then later on, because of the quality, because of the continuous improvement, you have a better way of doing things, better way of operating your operations, operating your business. So you need to do a revision in your documentation. So right now I'm doing it this way to manufacture my software products. Now I have a better way to do it. So I need to write it down. I need to revise my document. So revision after revision, you started to accumulate documents. You start to accumulate documents for policies, for procedures, for forms, year after year. These documents become unmanageable almost. And you can only keep them on paper or Word files, and most of the time you can only access them from certain location. If you're traveling, if you have multiple locations, it's difficult to access these documentation. So with the help of this system and this module, you can simply access your documents, policies, procedures, wherever you are. You can read them, you can update them, you can share with your colleagues, you can collaborate. So that is why control document management is important. Writing down and putting together your policies and procedures is the backbone of any quality and management standard. Whether you are complying with ISO, whether you are complying with FDA, or you are complying with, let's say, SOC, if you're in IT industry, you need to put these things together. You need to document it, and you need to be able to trace it. And you need to be able to retrieve it when the time comes for viewing it, reading it, as well as when the time comes for audits, for example, or inspections. As I mentioned earlier, getting feedback from customers are very important. Feedbacks are basically keys that opens the door for us for actual continuous improvement. So one of the ways to get the feedback is customer complaints, or I like to call it customer feedback. And you may have a positive feedback from your customer. That doesn't have to be a complaint, for example. So customer complaint module basically help you record your customer complaints or customer feedback, document it, share it with your team members. And if there's a need, you can take corrective actions, or you can take actions, or the worst case scenario, or at least you can share what you learn from your customers with your team members. Let's just remember, the idea is to have the continuous improvement, and continuous improvement comes from feedback, basically. And the more feedback that we get from our customers, and the more corrective actions that we basically take, and that basically help us have higher customer satisfaction, which will reflect on our sales. Corrective action module is also very important in that sense, to document and manage our corrective actions. Audit management is very important. So when we say audit, you can do audit activities internally. You can do audit activities actually also towards your dealers, towards your suppliers, right? So we all have suppliers, basically. We buy services and goods from different suppliers. That may be a raw material, that may be just a service. So we may want to audit, we may want to evaluate our suppliers sometimes or periodically. So audit management module is very important. Other common practice that we have been seeing in the market is actually cross-auditing. If I'm working for, say, production department, I may be auditing, let's say, purchasing department. I may not be an expert in purchasing, but I may have a fresh idea. I may look at things differently. So I may be a good candidate of auditing other departments, but maybe the other way around. Other departments can go audit also manufacturing as well, for example. Again, the idea is to find how we are operating, if we are following the policies and procedures based on the feedback that we get from our customers, and we put together our policies and procedures, and if there is a way to improve our processes to increase the customer satisfaction. So audit management is very important in that sense. Surveys help us get feedback as well. Training management is also very important to improve skill set of our employees. So with that, basically, we can improve our skill set that helps us actually manufacture or provide our services to our customers more effectively, and help us basically increase our customer satisfaction. Calibration module is basically for companies that have machinery equipment, for example, so you can manage the calibration activities of those assets that we have. Especially for ISO 9001, 2000 15 version, risk management became mandatory. It used to be optional. So with the mandatory risk management module, risk management compliance, this module is also very, very important that we have. You can actually manage the risks of your processes, of your health and safety activities, of your environment. So you can also document these as well in a digital environment. So in a nutshell, I talk about Bimser International. I talk about our company. I also talk about quality as a concept, and I shared our quality management framework from the practical point of view to be proactive in quality management. And I shared information with you about QDMS, our quality risk and compliance management system. That's the tool to help companies manage quality management operations in a digital environment with no paper involved. So I hope it was helpful and informative for you. If you have any questions, of course, we will be giving it in coming minutes. Now I'd like to hand it over to my colleague, Sam Watt. He's one of our engineers. He's an expert in QDMS pre-sales operations. So I'd like him to show us a little bit of QDMS, how we are running quality management operations in a digital environment with no need of papers. And then we'll take it from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. So I want to make sure, can you see my screen? Like,
yes.
Okay, nice. Thank you. And thank you, Kevin, for the presentation of our company and also the QDMS, which is our quality risk audit and compliance management system. And this is how it looks like after you log into QDMS. And you can find after deploying QDMS on your on-premise server or on your cloud server. I can connect to QDMS by using my web browser, and I'm now using my Firefox, and which allows you to connect to QDMS anytime and anywhere. Okay. And after logging in to QDMS, you can find all your pending tasks and also the request for approval on this home screen right after you log into QDMS. And you can get a quick connection to those requests, like a document that you have saved as draft, and also the corrective action, which are waiting for your approval, and so on this home screen. And it's make sure you won't miss any requests or tasks in QDMS in this management system. Other than that, you will also receive a notification in your email inbox. And on your top left, under this integrated management system, you can see the menu of QDMS, which shows all the available modules in your quality management system. Okay, excuse me. Okay, like control document management system, complaint management system, corrective action, and so on, right in this main menu. And QDMS, as Kevin mentioned, it is modular. So you will see the module that you have in the system in this menu. So let us go to the control document management module. In this module, you can read your documents, of course, and also create a new document, which means uploading a new document to the system. Revise a document, like getting a new version for your document that is all existing in the system. Okay, delete the document. And after deploying QDMS, you don't need any other software to read the contents of your document. And instead, the contents of your document will be shown in the built-in browser of QDMS. And QDMS support different file types like specification, procedure, regulation, training materials, and so on in different file formats like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDF, image, video, audio, or CAT, and so on. Those will be shown in this built-in browser, which you can zoom in and out. And all the activities that you interact with this document will be recorded in a log of QDMS. For example, like your the username, time, and the date, and what kind of activities that is carried out in the system. Okay. In addition, you can add a new document to QDMS. And first of all, you can choose the folder that you want to have your new documents sitting under that. So let's say I will put this under right here and click the next step. And after that, you can manage the permission matrix, which means which user has the permission on reading, printing, revising, getting back to the previous version, and delete the document. And also, you can manage the matrix like the distribution list, which means who or which users have the obligation to read this document when it is newly uploaded to the system or when it is revised. Also, you can manage the approval flow, which means what approval flow this new document will be put in when it is uploaded to the system. Okay, and you can add any user that is recorded in the system. For example, I'm going to add Kevin into this approval flow. Okay, and simply add it, and you can add a single user or add the users in a group. And you can find the level on your right, which means as smaller the number is, and it is higher in the approval layer. In this example, after I send this request into this approval flow, this request will be sent to Kevin first, and then after Kevin approval, it will send to my account, Bimser International, which I'm logging in as. Okay. And now you can upload your documents from your local drive under this document tab. You can choose right here and browse from your local drive and upload the document right here. Okay. And you will see a notification or a message saying the file uploaded successfully. After that, and also all the information of this new document is entered, like the document code, document name, and by the way, every field names with the asterisk symbol, it is a mandatory field that you have to enter something in this field. Okay, and then you can send your request, and it will go to Kevin for the first approval, and then it will be sent to my account for another approval. Okay, and now we come to the complaints module. And in this module, you can retrieve your feedback internally and externally. Like internally from your colleague, coworker, supervisor, and so on. And externally, like from your vendor, supplier, or subcontractor. So that, let me get one in as an example, like in the external custom complaints. And it's QDMS will show you all the complaints records that you have in the system, and they're in different status depending on the progress that you're handling this particular complaint. They will be like in reviewed, opened, final, and so on. So let us get into one, like the one in the final status. And of course, you can create a new complaint in this module. And after creating a new complaint record in the system, like entering the description of the complaint and the detail of it, and the complaint category, Then you can assign a responsible team to take care of this complaint, okay, and attach all the documents that provide or that support to this complaint, like some image, for example, like photos of it, or like a voice recording, for example. And after that, the responsible team has to file the first progress report if it is needed, like confirming this complaint. And then this responsible team has to file the final report for against this particular complaint. And if there's no other follow-up action is needed, right here under this follow-up tape, then you can close this complaint. And this record will be saved into the archive of QDMS. And in every module, we have the reporting tool that allows you to create a report or the way to make the reports in different modules. For example, like I can have our graphic report in the complaints module, which QDMS will lead us to another page. So you can set some filter on the left or condition to this report. Like I want to see which customer filed the most complaints or filed the most records in this complaints module. Then we can set up the time frame, like I'm going to have an annual report, then draw the graph. And you can tell which customer filed the most complaints from this bar chart. And also it will show you the data in the table. And anytime you can export this report as Excel, PDF, or image for sharing with any responsible parties. Then we come to the corrective action modules. Corrective action module. So right here, again, we can retrieve all the records that we have in this corrective action module, and they're in different status, like result, reviewed, opened, or follow-up, and so on. And it depends on the progress that we're handling, or our team handle this particular record. And saying, let me pull out one of the records, and you can create a new record in this corrective action module. And what you have to enter is like the corrective action source, the category, and the non-conformity detail. And after that, you can assign this corrective action to a particular solution team, a responsible team. Like you can choose the leader, responsible department, and the team member of this solution team, and upload the document or photo under this attachment tape. And this team then has to file the first progress report, like finding what is happening and if this record is accurate. After that, they have to do the root cause analysis and carry out certain action in order to cope with this non-conformity. Okay, and if there's no other follow-up action is needed, then we can close the case in this module. And one more thing I want to share with you is this corrective action module is integrated with complaint module, which means if you have a complaint or a new record in complaint module, and then while you're handling that complaint, you can carry out certain corrective action, and that new record will be shown in this corrective action module as well. And then we come to action management module, which allows you to have your action planning. And in this example, you can find like I have several action planning in the system. And for example, like the new employee action planning. And after defining the action planning, like new employee action planning, you might have couple of the action items in this planning. Considering like this action planning is the goal that you want to achieve, and the action item is how you get some objective that help you to achieve the goal. Okay, so and you can define your sub action as long as the action item right here for this action planning, and you can add a new action item or sub action in the system, which allows you to enter the responsible person and also the action performer. In addition, you can define the start date and end date and the detail of this sub action. Okay, and after saving this sub action, the action performer and the responsible person will receive a notification in QDMS and also in the email inbox. Okay, and next we come to the training planning module, and right here it's similar to the action planning module, which allows you to carry out or define the training plan in this module. And as you can see, I have different action plans in the system, and also you can define the date. Since you want to carry out different training to different users or employee in your company, so let's say you can define a new 2020 QDMS training plan, and then create the item for this training plan, and you can invite different trainee to this training in different time frame, and you can also record the attendance and also the score of this training of your trainee. Then you can see the audit module right here, and you can create the audit planning. So for example, like an internal audit planning, and again, you will audit different auditee in this planning, like internal audit planning, and you will audit the employee in, for example, like manufacturing department or logistics department, so that you can create the audit item right here and the different audit planning, and invite the auditor and auditee under this audit planning, and also define of course, the audit date and audit time. One more thing is you can also add the question as a reference for the auditor. So saying, I'm now auditing the employee in logistic department, and in fact, I'm the manager in manufacturing department, so that you can set up some questions as a reference for the auditor, and he or she can get the idea what kind of question that have to be asked, or that have to ask the auditee in that audit. Okay, and there are more modules that are available in QDMS. But I would say it's come to the end of my demonstration, and thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sam. We'll now open it up for questions. If you have any questions, please enter them into your question section of GoToWebinar. We'll give that a minute in case any come through. Also, just a reminder to everyone, we do have subject matter experts here. This is a great opportunity to have your questions answered in real time. All right, well, I'm not seeing any come through. So thank you so much, Kevin and Sam, for your time today and for your very informative presentation.